Good morning, you gorgeous mother truckers, and welcome to another video. So, been a few days since the Rupert Lowe situation, and it's just getting worse because now it appears that several Reform members have been speaking to the media to claim that Rupert Lowe suffers from dementia. I mean, you've already hatchet jobbed him, and then you just try and insult him and demean him. Now, the famous line is, you are innocent until proven guilty. That's how it works in the court of law. But of course, we don't have a court of law anymore. We have the court of public opinion, the court of social media, where it's irrelevant what the actual truth is. Once it's been made up that this person's this, that and the other, that's it and done. Now, I've been doing for a long time and covering and continue to cover the injustice that happened to one Noel Clark, where his entire life has been destroyed because he's already guilty, because social media deemed it so, based on nothing but rumours and hearsay and a very poorly written hit piece in The Guardian. And that's it. We can look at Katie Hopkins, we can look at the way Tommy Robinson has been treated, the many people, James Dreyfus, so many people who've been convicted via social media. They're now world infamous cancelling, where a group of people just decide that whatever's said is true, that's the way it is, and when you go, what about actual facts, they don't matter. And Rupert Lowe is yet again another example of the cancellation culture, of course even made even worse by the fact that it's been done by people that he classed as friends, although he's the first to admit there are no such things as friends in politics, which I find really sad, to be honest, because we all have friends, we just have different level of friends. I suppose better levels of friends, but for people to do that to him, and as I said, they did it to Ben Habib before, and they did it to Howard Cox before, where they just, as soon as you say something they don't agree with, or as is the many other case, as soon as you insult the fragile ego of one Farage, then it's game over and your history. Because they say, you know, it's not about one man. The party's never about one man. It's about its members. And I've seen this mentioned several times. And oh yeah, it's not about one man. It's about saving the country. Except, of course, when you look at it, the whole point and reason for this argument, this public falling out, is because the party is all about one man. And the faithful, the cult members, can't see that. Now, you have to look at what is next. Now, a lot of people are saying, and I see a lot of people saying, okay, I get it, that we have to vote Reform because Reform's the only choice. Without voting for Reform, we'll get another 5 years of Labour, and all the usual tropes. You know, I know it's really, really bad, but And the frightening thing, which I've always worried about, is this "there are only hope" line. Yes, we seem to have, a lot of people seem to have Princess Leia vibes. Reform, you are my only hope. Please help me. And when you start to say that and fixate to the fact that something is your only hope, that you're pinning absolutely everything on one thing because it is physically impossible for anybody else to potentially be the salvation, then that causes big issues with me. It generally does. Now, we all have our decisions to make, and I'm not, as always, remember, these are always my opinions and my belief system and how I feel about something. You're your own people and you can make your own decisions, and that's absolutely right and fine. But I can't support reform after the way they've been behaving, not just with Rupert Lowe. You need to pay attention to the fact, like we've had Andrea Jenkins, a washed up Conservative ex-MP who now is on reform side, of course, because we want to make Conservatives 2.0. There's misinformation about the reforms, immigration policy. We will stop the boats and we will deport people. You see, you shouldn't say things about people having dementia when you seem to have forgotten that Nigel's done an interview where he said it's impossible to do mass deportations. And this is the problem. This is the problem. Reform don't give out a clear, precise message on anything. Now, apparently, another reason that Rupert's been ceremoniously thrown under the bus in the most spectacular and personal way, I mean, it's vile, is because apparently he was too influenced by far-right policies about mass deportations, which is exactly what everybody thought reform was about. But we've had the one in, one out. We must appease our Muslim brothers. Well, it's physically impossible to deport everybody. We must. Whereas Rupert has been saying the things that people thought reform was all about. You can go back over. I've done many videos on reform, and people are, I mean, get ready for the usual suspects to come out and say stuff. But I've always said, be careful, because it's not what you think you're getting. And this is where we get back to our only hope. People are making decisions not based on logic, not even based on feelings. Well, one feeling, the feeling of desperation. You see, yes, we do need change. We do need someone like Reform. And if Reform can sort their shit out, and they need to, which is exactly what Rupert was saying, because they're in a position now, if you believe polls, and you know how I feel about polls, where they are potentially going to be the next government, yet never show you the fact that they're in a position to take over. Reform are very much in the same position politically as Trump was in his first win. We get the protest vote, we get the win, but when we get into power, we weren't prepared, so it falls apart. Trump learns his lesson. This time, not only did he win, as soon as he won, he was immediately putting people into positions to do what he wanted to do, to completely seize control. Reform show you nothing. For instance, and this is what Rupert was saying, for instance, who's in charge of the NHS in Reform? Who's in charge of immigration? Who's in charge of the Home Office? Who will be the Foreign Secretary? Now, even though you have only got 5 MPs sitting, that doesn't mean you can't make a shadow cabinet, so to speak, of members. You need to reflect the position you're in the polls and show that you're a party who are preparing for leadership. And instead, we're getting the same thing parroted every conference, every meeting that Farage attends. Reform will be nothing without me. Look what I did with Brexit. Look what I did with this. Well, yeah, okay, you got Brexit done and then disappeared. And that is another thing that I fear that Nigel will do, is if he ever did win, and we have to also remember that's if there's another election, because I do worry about that. If Nigel does win, is he just going to piss off again? Now, he says he's going to be in charge for 5 years. And then he goes, oh yeah, that's it, great. But you've not really paid attention to the fact that the 5 years would be up on the election. So does that mean that he'll take it all the way to the election, win, and disappear? Now, I was at the original Birmingham conference, and I've still got the video somewhere, where Zia Yusuf was introduced. Now, Nigel introduced him as the potential new leader of reform. People have not listened to that. I'm going to see if I can dig it out, and if I can find it, I'm sure I've got it somewhere, I'll actually put that up. He introduced Zia Yusuf as his potential successor. Yeah. Now, whilst we're here, let's go on to Zia Yusuf. The man who appeared out of nowhere threw apparently £200,000 on Nigel's desk and became chairman of the party, who now seems to be getting rid of people who don't suit his agenda. Zia Yusuf has money in the Middle East. He's also was a very young member of the WEF. Now, a lot of people, including myself, on this, and remember, this is my opinion. There's nothing solid in concrete, but I have a funny feeling he is either a hope not hate agent or MI5/MI6, a man who turns up, appeals to Farage's biggest weakness, which is money in his pocket, probably massaged that man's ego and got in. I'll be doing another video soon about how I see where we need to move forward. So as I think about bringing this particular one to a close, do I support reform? No. And this is because when I support a political party, or when I support anyone, like my football team, I support them because I have passion and I have belief. I believe in them. And I don't believe in reform, even if it apparently is our only hope. And I don't think it is. There is a seismic shift coming. A real seismic shift coming. I can see it, and we'll discuss it. But I can't put my wholehearted support behind reform when they say one thing and do another. And isn't that what we don't want anymore? We don't want broken promises. We don't want lies. What we need, and again, this is what Rupert was saying, you need clear leadership. Trump won because Trump did exactly that. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And he's got into power, and he's pretty much doing it because he has courage and convictions. He presents a strong, clear message. No flim-flamming, of which reform at the moment are very, very good at. you never really know where they stand. Nigel Farage changes his opinion and bends to the prevailing winds, very much like a Piers Morgan. And if you flip-flop, if you bend to the differing changes of the wind direction, you're weak. And this country has had enough of weak leaders. We need a strong leader with a strong party, with strong beliefs. People who connect with people like me. And Reform are not that. And I'll be honest, if you look back on all my videos, I've always said that they're not. I've always said that Reform are establishment. And as much as this will make me unpopular with some people, I don't care. Because I can't accept and ignore issues and red flags out of sheer desperation for change. Because that's not going to give me change, is it? It's going to give me more of the same. And as I've said, we all say Conservatives and Labour are the two different cheeks of the same arse. Well, at the moment, the cracking between those two cheeks appears to be Reform. We don't want the Uni-Party. So, why out of desperation are you ignoring the facts that they are potentially still part of the Uni-Party? It literally is Tice, Farage and Yusuf. These three men are the biggest problem Reform has, and they're not dealing with it. Lee Anderson, everybody goes, oh, well, this is his third public party, and he didn't stick by his friend. So, there we go. That's where I stand at the moment. Obviously, we will discuss this more. I'm sure we will. We've got 4 years to go. But as I said, I feel a seismic change coming on. Something that's going to be different. We'll talk about it later. Any case, 2 videos popping up at the end of this. One will be the last one I uploaded. The other one will be the chosen one. The one that the gods of YouTube, using their mighty, mighty algorithm, will have selected just for you. If you agree with what I'm saying or like what I do, then you just hit that subscribe button. It's all the validation that I need, genuinely. If you've done that, don't forget you can ding the bell. Then 3 or 4 months later, check it, because it might be deleted, switched off. If you've done that, you can always like, share, and you can come and play in the adult room, where we have a discussion in the comment section down below, where we have constructive chats, differing points of view. And remember, you don't have to agree with me, and I always leave the comments up. If you don't agree, you don't agree. That's absolutely fine. As long as you act like an adult and you don't act like a stupid little child, of which I'm sure with this video there'll be a fair few. But remember that if you do, we have a playroom, and in the playroom is a nice big box of stickle bricks for you to play with. Any case, enough of that. I'm done. So, until the next one.